My fiancée ended things with me after her colleagues convinced her that I wasn't good enough for her. But the regret hither the following day. I'm 29. And until this morning I thought I had everything figured out. My fiancée Clara and I had been together. For 5 years we were only 3 months away from our wedding and everything seemed perfect. She was my ideal partner, intelligent, beautiful, and driven. But all that changed after a single conversation started. Like any other day, I woke up early, prepared breakfast for Clara and gave her a kiss goodbye before she headed off to work. But when she came back that evening, something felt off. She was quiet, distant, and avoided looking me in the eye. I asked her what was wrong. And that's when she dropped the bomb. We need to talk, she said, her voice shaky. I don't think we're right for each other anymore. I was shocked. What are you talking about? He asked. Getting married in 3 months. She hesitated, then gave me the painful truth. Her coworkers, especially her so-called best friend Rachel, had been telling her for months that I wasn't in her league. They criticized me for not being ambitious enough, for not earning enough money, and suggested that she deserved someone better. After months of their constant pressure, she finally gave in. I'm sorry, she said, tears streaming down her face. I just don't think this is going to work. I was devastated. 5 years of love, trust, and planning gone in an instant. I tried to reason with her, to remind her of all we had built together. But she wouldn't. Listen, it's not you, she kept saying. I just need more. And with that, she left, saying she needed some space first. I was crushed after Clara left. I sat on the couch staring at the engagement ring she had carelessly tossed on the coffee table as though it was worthless. I was hurt, sure. But more than anything, I was angry. How could she just throw away 5 years based on the opinions of some coworkers? And who the hell did Rachel think she was manipulating Clara like that? I needed answers, and I wasn't going to find them by moping around. Then I remembered something Clara had mentioned a few months ago. She used the same password for everything. It's just easier, she had said, rolling her eyes when I warned her about online sex security. I grabbed my laptop, opened her email, and typed in her go-to password, Clara03. To my surprise, it worked. At first I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I started scrolling through her emails, hoping to find something that could explain why she ended things. And then I found it. A series of messages between Clara, Rachel, and Mark. Felt like stumbling into a dramatic soap opera. Rachel's messages were the worst. She'd been feeding Clara a constant stream of lies about Mehun's holding you back. She wrote in one email, "Your way out of his league. You deserve someone like Mark. Someone who can keep up with you." In another message, Rachel even suggested that Clara test the waters with Mark to see if there was any chemistry. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Rachel wasn't just Clara's friend. She was playing the role of her life coach, and she was doing a terrible job. Next, I found messages between Clara and Mark. They weren't exactly love letters, but they were flirtatious enough to make my blood boil. Mark would send her over-the-top compliments, like "You're the smartest person in the room" and "You're the prettiest." Clara would respond with laughing emojis and comments like, "You're too much." It wasn't an affair yet, but it was clear they were testing the boundaries. The worst part was that Clara had saved all these messages like they were some kind of badge of honor. But their goldmine was the group chat between Clara, Rachel, and Mark. They spent hours mocking their managers, calling them incompetent, clueless, and my personal favorite, a walking HR violation. They even joked about starting a Bing pool on which manager would get fired. First, it was ridiculous, but also incredibly stupid. If their bosses ever saw these messages, their careers would be over. As I scrolled through the conversation, a plan began to form in my mind. Clara had dumped me because Rachel convinced her I wasn't good enough. But I wasn't going to let this go without a fight. I was determined to show them just how much I was capable of. I gathered all the incriminating messages, Rachel's manipulation, Clara and Mark's flirtations, and the insulting comments about their managers, and saved them into a folder. Then I logged into Clara's work account and checked her calendar. Perfect. There was a company-wide virtual meeting scheduled for that afternoon, exactly the moment I needed to make my move. But before I did anything, I had to make sure neither Clara nor Rachel suspected a thing. I sent Clara a message pretending to be devastated. "I can't believe this is happening. I thought we were forever." She replied with a typical impersonal response. "I'm sorry, but this is for the best." I rolled my eyes and typed back, "I just need some time to process." Then I muted her notifications and got to work. For the next few hours, I focused on my plan. I created a fake email account, uploaded the messages to a shared drive, and composed an anonymous email to the CEO. The subject was simple: a matter of company integrity. I scheduled it to send during the meeting, knowing that would be the best time to make an impact the next morning after Clara left for work. I sat on the couch staring at the empty space where her things once were, where she had come home the night before, packed silently and left without saying a word. I didn't say anything either. What was left to say? She had made her choice, and now it was time for me to make mine. I grabbed my laptop and opened the draft of the email I had prepared. The subject line was still a matter of company integrity, and attached were the screenshots of messages between Clara, Rachel, and Mark, the manipulation, the flirtation, the cruel gossip about their manager. I had scheduled the email to send at 10 a.m. I'm right in the middle of the company's virtual meeting. I then texted my best friend Ethan, who worked at the same company. Something big is about to happen. Keep me updated at 10:00 a.m. I received a text from Ethan, dude. What did you do? The CEO just got an email with some crazy screenshots. I grinned and replied, just wait. Over the next hour, Ethan sent me live updates from Theme. The CEO had opened the email during the meeting and immediately called out Clara, Rachel, and Mark. He read aloud from the messages, his tone getting more furious with every word. Is this how you represent this company? He demanded, manipulating each other, flirting on company time, insulting your managers. This is unacceptable. Ethan's texts were priceless. Clara looks like she's about to faint. Rachel's trying to blame Mark, and Mark's sitting there like a deer in headlights. This is the best meeting ever. By the end of the meeting, the CEO had made his decision. Clara was fired on the spot for violating company policies. Rachel was demoted and placed on probation for creating a toxic work environment. As for Mark, he resigned before the CEO could officially fire him, mumbling something about pursuing other opportunities. Ethan sent me one final text: you're a legend. This is going down in company history. I couldn't help but laugh as I put my phone down, as one of my revenge had gone off without a hitch. Now it was time to move on to phase 2. When Clara returned home that afternoon, her face was pale and her eyes were red from crying. She walked into the living room where I was sitting on the couch, casually scrolling through my phone as if nothing had changed. Did you do this? She asked, her voice trembling. I glanced up at her, feigning confusion. Do what? She tossed her phone onto the coffee table, the screen displaying the leaked messages. Did you leak these? I shrugged, keeping my composure. Why would I do that? I'm just the guy you said wasn't in your league. Remember? Clara's eyes narrowed. Ass. She glared at me. You did this. I know you did. I leaned back on the couch and smiled. Prove it. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She knew there was no evidence, and even if there was, she had bigger problems to deal with later. That evening, Clara called me, her voice trembling once more. I'm sorry, she said. I made a mistake. Can we talk about this? He paused for a moment before replying. Sure, come over. When she arrived, I sat her down and handed her a cup of tea. She looked hopeful, as if she thought I was going to forgive her, but that's when I dropped the bomb. I leaked the messages. I said, my voice calm and steady. Clara's eyes widened in disbelief. You what? I leaned forward with a grin. Yep, it was me. I got into your account, leaked the messages, and watched it all explode, and let me tell you, it was totally worth it. Clara sat there in stunned silence, but I wasn't finished. Oh, and by the way, you left some of your stuff here yesterday. I packed it up for you while you were at work. It's in a box by the door. Don't worry, I didn't throw it out. I'm not a monster, just a guy who knows how to hold a grudge. Clara stared at me, her mouth opening and closing, struggling to find words. Finally, she managed to stammer, why? Why would you do this? I leaned back, crossing my arms. Why did you dump me? Because Rachel said I wasn't good enough. Why did you flirt with Mark behind my back? Why did you trash talk your managers like a bunch of high school mean girls? You made your choices. Clara, now you're dealing with the consequences. She started crying again, but this time I didn't feel a shred of sympathy. You ruined my life, she sobbed. I laughed, actually laughed. No, Clara, you ruined your own life. I just gave it a little nudge before she left. I handed her the box of her belongings. Oh, and one more thing, I said, pulling a small envelope. This is for you. She opened it and found a printed copy of the leaked messages neatly stapled together. Consider it a souvenir, I said with a smirk. Something to remember me by. Clara looked at me as though she didn't recognize me anymore. Maybe she didn't. The guy she dumped that morning wouldn't have done anything like this, but that guy was gone, and I wasn't. Sorry. After Clara left, I poured myself a drink. I knew what I had done was unethical, maybe even a little crazy, but I didn't care. Clara, Rachel, and Mark had messed with the wrong person, and now they were paying the price. A few days later, I received a text from Ethan. Dude, you're a legend. People are still talking about what happened. CLA is applying for jobs. Rachel's on thin ice, and Mark's LinkedIn profile says he's taking a break to focus on personal growth. He chuckled and replied, sounds like everyone got what they deserved. As for me, I moved on. I started dating again, and even met someone who truly appreciated me for who I was. We've been together for a few months now, and things have been great. No drama, no manipulation, just two people who like each other. Who would have thought? Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Clara, Rachel, and Mark brought this on themselves. I was just the guy who held up the mirror. Life's too short to let people walk all over you. Sometimes you got to fight fire with fire, or in my case with a perfectly timed email and a little bit of sarcasm.